Hi, my name's Lydia. I work in the Student Life Department at the University of Southampton, and I want to welcome you to our new Q&A video. Just a reminder that there's lots of support services available for you at the University of Southampton, and we're going to put details of those at the end.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a PhD history student at Southampton University. I've completed my MA distance learning as well, both whilst I've been a head of department at a secondary school full-time.
First question, how do I manage my feelings of guilt? When I am at work, I feel like I should be focusing on university work. But when I'm doing university work, I feel like I should be focusing on my family.
I think that's quite a difficult question to answer because people cope very differently with emotions, in particular guilt. So my advice would be to try and chunk your time. So for example, if you have a 9-to-5 job, that's when you need to be working because that's what you've been paid to do. So therefore, university work won't necessarily fit in with that. And therefore, there can't be any room for manoeuvre. And then when you do have your spare time, so evenings or weekends, think about when you can spend some time with your family, when you can spend some time on university work. So for example, people with young families, you might have to do dinner, bedtime stories, that kind of thing. So it would be a case of communicating with partners or with the wider family network to kind of work out what would best fit and when you can fit that university work in. But also don't feel bad if plans have to change. So for example, if you've planned work on a Saturday morning and plans change and you've got to go to a rugby fixture, for example, or you've got to go and do something else with the family, that's also okay. And I think actually don't feel too bad about having that change in plans. I also think it's really important to communicate with your academic tutors and supervisors. For example, as a head of department, there are certain times in the year where I have to focus on work, I have to focus on my students, especially around exam season. So therefore, the amount of work that I am able to do for university is much more limited.
My work colleagues aren't supportive of me doing my studying, and they don't seem to understand why I find it so stressful.
I think my first point here is to accept that you can't change people's opinions. So if you've attempted to try and sit them down and kind of explain how difficult balancing uni work and your actual work is, and they don't seem to be sympathising, I think it's kind of time to just sort of leave it there and actually look for different support elsewhere. So someone that's maybe removed from the workplace, like family or friends, who you can talk to and unload to and kind of try and get some advice from if that's what you need. But I think trying to get people to sympathise with you can add to the stress. Especially if you're already finding university work quite stressful. What you don't need is then to try a battle with people to sympathise or to empathise with you.
I have been furloughed, so I should have way more time for my degree, but I still don't seem to be able to concentrate, and it's making me feel like a failure.
I think we all have times where we are more driven than not. I certainly do. And especially in the current situation with COVID-19, there are times when I don't do a lot of work, I'm not particularly motivated, and then all of a sudden I complete hours worth of work within a couple of hours. But I think it's to be realistic with yourself is my advice. I think it's especially current at the moment where you're feeling stressed, not just with university work, but also with employment opportunities and obviously with family as well. What you don't need to do is add to the stress and strain of trying to get more work done, because inevitably you won't be more effective with your time management. I think it's important to set yourself reasonable tasks. So look at the big picture of what you want to complete within a month or 2 months, and then break it down by week or days, and almost do a checklist to yourself. And make sure that you switch off, because if you're constantly worrying about the workload, or if you're constantly going, I need to complete this, then when you actually do have time to complete work, you're not going to be as effective as you want to be. So make sure that you have that time away from a screen and away from university work, so that actually when you do try and complete some university work, you're much more effective and motivated.